Hey guys, this is Johnny, and today is my birthday. And I woke up this morning thinking, what do I want to do today? Do I want to hop on a plane over to Thailand to see my friends? Do I want to go to the Maldives, go scuba diving? Do I want to, go to Barcelona to go run with the bulls? I can literally do all of that, except for run the bulls. That just ended a few days ago. But I had a chance to go there. My buddies Sam and Kevin actually rented an apartment right on that main street. So their balcony overlooked it. And I was thinking, like, I could go if I want. They actually invited me and say I can crash with them. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm pretty good where I am. And actually, even this morning, I was thinking, well, I don't need to work today. Even though it's Thursday, I have the freedom to not work. And it's my birthday, so why should I go into work? And I thought, you know what? I like going to work. And by work, I don't mean going to an 8 to 5 office job in a cubicle like I used to live when I was in LA and in California. My work now is going to a coffee shop or co-working space and working on projects I actually like doing. So whether it's writing or blogging or creating e-commerce stores, all these things I actually really like doing. So I woke up this morning and said, you know what? I love my life. I'm excited for the day. And I want to go to a cafe with my laptop and I want to write a blog post called Lifestyle Design, Designing and Building My Perfect Day. So I'm going to show you what that is, and I'm going to show you how you can build your own as well. So before we start, I actually want to show you what my perfect day back in the day was. When I grew up in San Francisco, I lived in LA, I went to school in Orange County, and I thought it would be cool if I had a Lexus LS, those big sedans, black on black, window tint, 20-inch chrome rims. And then when I had that, I was like, you know what? I need to step it up. I'm in LA, I need a convertible. So I bought a used Porsche convertible, red interior, silver outside, and I thought, okay, this is it. Now I'm cool. I would try to buy all my clothes on like Melrose or expensive stores. I remember wasting money at Burberry. I wanted to have like the latest and greatest, And I don't know why I wanted this. It's just that I wanted happiness. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be cool. And I wanted to have attractive people in my life. I wanted to be an attractive person myself. And I didn't know how else to do it. I didn't know that I can just have good hobbies, do significant things, maybe become an entrepreneur, maybe travel. I didn't think any of those were options. I really thought growing up that, hey, if you want to not be a loser, you have to go to expensive clubs, pop bottles of champagne, you need to drive cool cars. That is the small bubble I grew up in. And it's almost good that I grew up there and not in some small town somewhere, because I think I would have aspired to go to LA if I grew up in a small town. But because I had already been to Vegas and been to Miami to drink Dom Perignon and, other expensive champagne while wearing like Ed Hardy shirts and, like Gucci loafers and just expensive, stuff that we see on TV in movies or in reality shows that make you feel like, hey, I'm living a great life. If I was finally able to do all that, and I was smart enough, I guess, to not blow all of it on a credit card. But unfortunately, I have a lot of friends who ended up with like 40,000 US dollars in credit card debt just because we were going out every weekend. And when the recession hit, they all went broke. And they had to sell their brand new BMW 8 Series. People had to sell their businesses, like the houses they had bought with, zero equity and zero down payment. All that was gone. Luckily, the year before that happened, I actually had already moved to Thailand. I had read The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and I decided, you know what? Let me give this a shot. Let me go to Thailand and see what it's all about. So then my perfect day, instead of being, working a corporate job, driving a fancy car, wearing designer clothes and going to nightclubs on weekends, my perfect day then shifted to living on these remote islands, to scuba diving every day, to wearing board shorts and flip-flops and maybe a tank top or maybe even no shirt, and just doing what I loved and living on these, beautiful remote islands across Thailand. I worked in Borneo, in the Caribbeans, it was a really great life. And my ideal life became waking up in the morning, preparing the dive boat, meeting people from all around the world and taking them scuba diving, and then watching the sunset with them. Usually around 6 p.m., I was done with work, and we would sit there, we would have a beer, and I really loved it. That was my ideal day. But that changed when I saw a lot of my coworkers who were in their 40s or 50s. They were really grumpy. They were really unhappy, and I couldn't figure out why. And I remember saying to them, I'm like, hey man, like, why are you complaining all the time? Like, we live an amazing life. We're watching the sunset, we're having beers, and I finally figured it out. It's because they had been doing it for so many years that was the new norm. And they were stuck doing that because they had no savings, they had no other skills, they couldn't move if they wanted to. They were basically stuck at this job. And even though it's amazing to do when your normal life is in a cubicle in a city, when you're living on an island full time, it gets really old and you get really tired. And this is what I realized is life is about balance. And I know you heard this so many times that you're sick of hearing it, but really, when you're in a city, you want to be in a mountain. When you're in a mountain, you want to be on an island. When you're on an island, you want to be on the mountain. And it's not that either are wrong, it's that we need both. So I did the island thing for a few years, maybe 3 years, and then I did it with Muay Thai kickboxing. I started living and training at different gyms all around Thailand, and I competed professionally in Muay Thai kickboxing. I even tried out for K1 and didn't make it. And I really liked it. I really enjoyed those, 3 years of doing it. And then I realized, hey, I'm still not happy. And it's not that I wasn't happy, because I was very happy each time. It's I realized once you have that cup filled, you need to fill another cup, because life is about this balance. So that's when I transitioned from being, the douchebag in LA, thinking that if I can just learn how to pick up girls and go to expensive clubs, and then I'll be happy, realizing that wasn't the answer. Then I went to the scuba diving route, thinking, okay, if I can go scuba diving every day, see, cool fish, live on different islands, that would be the answer. And that was the answer for a while as well, but it wasn't the permanent answer. Same as with Muay Thai and kickboxing. That's when I found the second part of 4 Hour Work Week. I should have just read it and followed his advice, but it took me 4 years to actually get to the second part about building a business and having a sustainable life. If you want to know more about that, I wrote a whole book called Life Changes Quick. But really what I want to talk to you about today is what I finally figured out my ideal life today is. And what I think is going to last me for a long, long time, maybe even forever, unless I decide to have kids and have a family. So I want you to look at my list and then write your list, because I'm sure it's going to be different depending on where you are. If you're working a corporate job now and you're living in a big city, you're living in the US or Canada or Australia or UK, I'm sure your first list might be what my list looked like when I wrote 12 Weeks in Thailand about living on an island somewhere. That's what you need right now. But for me right now, I want to have very little responsibilities. That's a big reason why I don't buy physical real estate and I don't own a house and I don't really own much. My core values, no responsibilities or little responsibilities, little to no stress. That's a big part of it. That's why I look a lot younger than I actually am. I'm in my late 30s now, which is crazy. But I feel younger and I probably look younger now than I did even 10 years ago, because I'm not working a stressful corporate job. I'm not stuck in traffic. I'm doing what I want. I also love a good value. I love a good value so much that it just makes me happy when I buy something that is less expensive than it should be. So for example, if I get a Big Mac here in Ukraine and it's only $2, I know it's an amazing value because it's $5 back home. I know that's a weird example, but even just going out to let's say I have a nice steak, and sometimes you can have a really nice steak here for $5. That would be a $50 steak back home. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm in this beautiful restaurant, great service, wine glasses. And I'm like, the steak was $5 and it makes me so happy. Or even a $12 steak. And it's just like a nice feeling of getting a really, really good value. So this is why I really like Thailand in the winters and I like Eastern Europe in the summers, because right now that's where the best values are. And overall, I like a low cost of living, just because I used to spend so much just having a normal life in LA. I would spend a minimum of 3,000, if not $5,000 a month, just living life, just going out, eating. And I wasn't even, I was, I guess, going a little bit crazy sometimes, but that's kind of just what people do in LA. And I never had money left over for savings. Now, that's a huge part of my life, and what I want is to have money left over for savings, for investments, so I can plan for my future. I also want to have extra money to be able to be generous. And that's why I also like being in low cost of living places. So it doesn't like break the bank to treat someone out to a coffee or a drink or even to dinner. I want to be able to do that with my friends or even just give like good tips. Like today I was at a coffee shop and there was this old kind of grandmother lady that was a cleaner. And she just kept, coming by and like cleaning. Like I had 3 coffees and I had a runny nose and I just kept blowing my nose and she just kept coming by and cleaning. And I felt like so bad that she like was probably living off of a pension that is here. It's like $60 a month, which is crazy. And before I left, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give her a tip. It's my birthday today. I want to just slip her something. So I gave her 200 hryvnia, which is only $8 US. But here it's an entire day's work for her. And, she was kind of surprised because like no one really tips the cleaning staff. But I think doing something like that can really just make her day. It can really kind of help her. Like that's enough money to go to dinner with her family even. So it's nice being able to do that. I also like being able to not look at prices so much. If I order something basic like a tea or a coffee, I don't want to have to look at the price or even a beer. If I go to a grocery store and I'm just buying normal stuff, I don't want to have to always look at the price. It's nice to be able to just buy the thing that you know is healthy, the thing that you really want, and not stress about it. In the US, if you try doing that at a lot of places, you end up like way overspending. But here or in Thailand, it's easy just to buy what you want. I also really value having a walkable life. I love not needing a car, living in the city center, walking outside, and being able to walk to coffee shops and restaurants, the grocery store, and to the gym. And to be honest, if I can just do those 4 things, to be able to go to a coffee shop so I can work from a coffee shop or co-working space, to be able to go to a grocery store to buy like basic, household needs, to have a couple good restaurants nearby, and to have my gym within a 10 or 15 minute walk, I'm so happy. And here in Ukraine, also when I was not really in Lithuania, I had to take the bus, but in other parts of Ukraine, in Poland, in Lisbon, and in Gran Canaria, these are all places where I lived, where I was able to just walk to the gym, walk to restaurants, walk to coffee shops, and I really, really like doing it. So that's what I really enjoy. Even when I was living in LA, even though I was living in a cool neighborhood in like the center, I was living near Hancock Park, and I was basically on La Cienega, which is the street going to Melrose. I couldn't walk anywhere. Like maybe if I walked 20 minutes, I can get to a store, but you drove everywhere. I never walked to the gym. I never walked you just can't walk anywhere. Even in San Francisco, it's hard because you're walking hills all the time and everything's spread out. LA is much worse. San Francisco at least was a little bit better, but it is 100% common to take your car, whether you go to a restaurant or to the gym or to a grocery store. And it's so nice not to be able to do that. If you've never lived somewhere where you don't need a car, I highly recommend trying it and seeing how it is. Speaking of which, of gyms, I love not having contracts. I love having my phone be a month-to-month, prepayment, especially here in Ukraine. It is $4 a month for 10 gigs or like $6 for 20 gigs of 4G LTE. It is a really good value and I love it. I love not having to deal with any of that stuff. I mean, when I go to the EU, I buy a SIM card in the first country and I can use it all across the EU. When I go to Thailand, I'll buy a SIM card at the airport and I'll use it for the whole month. I love not having a contract. I don't have a gym contract. I hate having to sign a year contract. I love just paying month to month. And life just so much easier. But I still have stable internet because internet is so cheap in Ukraine that even at the cheapest Airbnb, you're gonna have pretty good internet speeds. Just because even the cheapest package is still pretty good. So there's no reason for them not to give it to you. Now, when it comes to weather, I really loved the hot weather in Thailand. And I think it's because I came from San Francisco, which doesn't seem like it'd be a cold place, but it gets cold in the winter and it's foggy most of the year, but it's not cold enough to have heating or proper insulation. Our house was really old. The house I grew up in, and my parents still live in, I'm assuming is 100 years old. I have no idea, but it's an old house and doesn't have double pane windows, and it is often colder indoors than it is outside. So if it's plus 13 Celsius or like 50 degrees outside, it might be 45 degrees inside. And I hated it. I hated freezing indoors. And in Thailand, even though I didn't mind being hot and sweaty all the time, and to be honest, sleeping, and like sweating while I slept, I don't want to do that anymore. It was fine in the beginning, but now I really like having a comfortable temperature. And this is why I really like Eastern Europe in the summers, is because it never really gets over 85 or 90 degrees. It almost is never 90 degrees. It's normally 75 degrees and sunny. And some days it rains, and some days it's a bit chilly. But I like it. I like having this kind of mild temperature where it's never too extreme. And that's why I don't spend my winters in Europe, is because I don't like that it gets too cold. So I go back to Thailand or to Asia, because in December and January in Chiang Mai, it's the same temperature. It's like 75 degrees or 20 degrees Celsius. Perfect and sunny. So it's never, and then at night it gets a little bit chilly, so you can sleep well without AC. I really love it. And even like little things like not dragging sand into your apartment every day because you live on the beach. I know that sounds like a dream for a lot of people, but when you live in a beachside bungalow or near a beach somewhere and there's always sand in your apartment, it's annoying as crap. And it's one of those things where I finally realized that I love going to the mountains. I love going into nature. I love the beaches, but I don't want to live on it full year round. And I don't think most people do. I think most people dream about it because we don't spend enough time there. But I think it's something that we should go to for 2 weeks or a month, maybe even 2 months at a time when we desire to go. And that is kind of the point of this video, is I really believe that what we actually want is a balance and having options to be able to go somewhere, but not have to be there all the time and having that now become our only option. So these are, if you want to look at the rest of my list, it's on my blog, johnnyfd.com. But I finally figured out what I want. And if you have never written down what you want, do that right now. Write it in the comments. Sit down, spend 5 minutes, write down your dream life. What makes you happy? And don't worry if other people don't understand it or it doesn't make sense. Write it down, because that's how you make it happen. So I really, really hope that you've enjoyed this video as well as this blog post. I'm very happy to say that I'm living my ideal life. It may change, but right now I know it's my ideal life because I wake up excited to wake up and get to the day. I randomly will think to myself and even say out loud, I love my life. This happens almost every day after I've been working at the cafe for a while, and I step outside and it's sunny and I see this beautiful architecture of being in Eastern Europe, or I see beautiful Ukrainian models walk by, or I see this, I had this Ukrainian borscht, or this food that is so tasty that we can't get in the US, or I see how cheap everything is, or just I don't know, just every single thing. I'm wow, this is a really cool life. This is something that I I wouldn't have experienced if I was living at home. And I used to feel the same about seeing beautiful sunsets or sunrises on the beach. And now, I've seen it so much that I feel like I need to see something else. I need to see architecture again and cities again. But that is the point of this, is whatever your ideal life is, it's possible and it's always changing. So figure out what it is. And if you're not living it, you're not telling yourself, I love my life, at least once a day, or even once every, 2-3 days. If you haven't said it to yourself in the last week, change it. You can. And that's what's great about this life. I hope to see you in the next video. And thanks for spending my birthday with me. I could be doing anything else I want, but this is what I want. I want to be able to spread the message, show that life is on your own terms as possible, and that hopefully you guys don't make all the same mistakes that I've made, because it was a long journey to get here. If you want to read more about it, go on johnnyfd.com. But happy to say, today's a great day. Bye, guys.